This is the jig that I'm using. And I hope you guys can see it. I'm gonna turn it this way so you can see it a little bit better. The glitter in the chartreuse tail, the red, black with a chartreuse curly tail swim jig. Look at that. Look at that, guys. They were staged up on the outside. You see that? Look at this rascal. You can tell by the flip this is a big crappie. Look at that. Now let me tell you what's happening. Even though I'm throwing up there in the shallows, they're staged up right on the outside. This is another female. Let me turn you around so we can see this rascal. Look at that. Let me tell you this. Guys, let me say this. I'm trying to catch 10.5 and 11s, but it seems to be I'm catching 12s and 13s and females. Look at this. Look at this rascal. Let me show him to you. Look at that crappie. Let me see if I can show you where the hook landed. Look down her throat, right in the roof of the mouth. Can you guys see that? I hope you can see that. Wow. Man, oh man, oh man. Are we having a good time? Now remember, I threw all the way up in the shallows, but she hit it about 8 to 9 yards off of the shallows, which means we're early. They're still moving up in there. Good night. Look at this hook set. I contribute everything to this hook. Look at this rascal. Good night. That's a nice crappie. And it is a female, so we're going to let her go too. Whew. Hold tight. We're going to take a little break, and I'm going to be right back with that has purchased from us and DM'd me and told me how much they like the hooks and the jig heads. I want to tell you guys, thank you so much. And another thing, I want everybody out there to be patient with us when we're shipping. You have to remember that we're custom making the jigs, okay? And we're custom pouring the plastics. So it's not like I can go right to the shelf, pick it up and ship it to you guys. So I need you to be a little bit patient with us in shipping time. And a lot of people are getting really anxious to get out on the water, and trust me, I know how that is, and you want to catch fish. But I need you to slow down just a touch, pump your brakes, and allow us to melt the lead, form it, and do everything that needs to be done, not to mention the plastics as well. So be patient with us, give us a little bit of time, and I guarantee you, every item that ships goes through my hands, okay? So I see and touch everything that leaves out of here before it gets to you guys, okay? I want to say thank you so much for everything you guys have done for us. Now, I want to cover this. Let me pull my shades off real quick so I can see you guys real good. I'm getting ready to show you the difference between a stinger shad with the straight tail, like this. Okay, you see that movement in there? It's in my hand, and it's still moving. You see that tail, how it's moving? Okay, show you the difference between that and a curly tail. Okay, I'm going to show you the motion in the water. Okay, I'll be able to show you to you how I use this versus the stinger shad, and both of these you can find on Cam's Crappie Hole, and I'll have a listing of it down below. Okay, before I get into that, I want to give this to you guys. So I've had a lot of questions, and I want to see if I can head them off at the path. You can see these three types of jig heads. Let me put them up there so you can see them real close. Okay, this is a 1/8, this is a 1/16, and this is a 1/32. Okay, the 1/32 is the very light jig head, and the 1/16 is in the middle, which is my go-to, and the 1/8 is if you want to get distance, depending on how deep that you're fishing. You may want to get that lead down there or the jig down there as fast as possible. Okay, those are the three main ones that we sell, and of course they come in round heads as well if you prefer those. But I want to explain to you guys the difference between all three. Okay, the 1/8 is the heaviest. And like I said before, if you want to get down to depth or you want to get your casting and retrieving, this one right here will go the furthest. Okay, you lose a little bit when you go to the 1/16. All right, but this is my go-to because they're in the shallows right now, the 1/16, and it allows that jig to descend slower. Okay, so they can see it on the way down. Crappie, they have a thing about items going down. Okay, you lose distance, but you gain in descend with the 1/16. And the 1/32, you lose casting ability with this particular head, but it drops in that decel zone very, very slow. Very good jig. I like, between you and I like the 1/16 or the 1/32. Okay, you can see we have the red hooks, all the sizes that you want. If you're catching 9, 10, 11-inch crappie, you may want to go with the number 4 hook. If you're catching 11, 12s, and 13s, you may want to go with a number 2 hook. Or if you catching 13, 14s, and 15s and 16s, you may want to go with the number 1 hook. Let me put that up there so you guys can see it. Okay, we got them in different colors: red, green, black nickel, bronze, any color that you may want. All you have to do is order, and it's on the website, Cam's Crappie Hole. You'll be able to see that without a problem. The nasty bend hooks. I'm going to show you guys River too. Look at River back there. Everywhere I go, River sits with me. He's always with me. Okay, that's my first mate. He's always with me on the boat. Let me show you guys the difference. You remember you use those old hooks? We've been using those since we were kids. All right, you know the ones that I'm talking about. You can get them in different size jig heads. This is it right here. This is the old hook. You see how much it's showing? And you got to remember, crappie have big mouths. Okay, look at that. Look how much hook is showing with that. Okay, this is one of our curly tail, aka twist tail jigs. But I want to show you our nasty bend hook. Matter of fact, I'm going to put them side by side so you can see them. See how much hook is exposed versus the other one? Look at that. You see the difference? Let me back it up a little bit so you guys can really see it. That's our nasty bend hook. Okay? They're 3 times sharper than this hook here, the old school hook. And if you guys don't know by now, listen, you need to ask somebody about these nasty bend hooks. If you don't want to hook it, don't fool with this hook. This is a nasty, nasty hook. Okay? 9 times out of 10, when you get a crappie on this, he ain't coming off, okay? Even though crappie know how to make that hook back out of their mouth, your ratio goes up by 79% by using this hook versus using this little old hook right here. This isn't what you want to use. You got to bring your A game now. It's time for you guys to go hard in the paint and come on over here to Cam's Crappie Hole and pick you some of these up. We still got free shipping. Check us out. We got all the colored hooks. We got all the size hooks. We got all of the weight jig heads that you want. And remember, we custom make them here. When you order this is a tailor. All this is a tailor shop. When you put your order in, boom, we ship it out to you, what size, what color hook that you want. All right, check that out. I'm going to show you the difference between the stinger shad and the curly tail in the water coming up. Soft plastic is made to have motion to it. So if you're casting and retrieving, this is the one you want to use, okay? Or if you're trolling, this is the one you want to use. Let me see if I can show it to you, what it looks like in the water, okay? You see that tail? You see the motion of that tail? I'm hoping you guys can see that. I'm going to bring it back a little bit so you guys can see it. See that motion of that tail? Let me see if you guys can see it. That's what you're looking for in that twist tail. Crappie cannot stand that, okay? That tail moving like that, they cannot stand that. So as long as you're casting and retrieving or you're trolling, that's what you want to use. Let me see if I can pull it up a little bit better so you guys can see it. That's what you want to use right there. Okay? That's the twist tail. This is what I've been catching them on all spring that you guys have been seeing my segments, okay? That's coming up right here. This twist tail, aka curly tail jig. Okay? They're made of extremely soft plastic. And you can see that glitter in that tail. I hope you guys can see that. But when that motion of that tail is doing that, crappie can't stand that. Now, also let me show you when it comes time for me to spider rig, and I'm using jigs, this is the one that I use, which is, let me pull it up here so you guys can see it. This is the stinger shad, okay? This is a stinger shad. This is the one that tail just absolutely will not sit still at all, okay? So it makes it look like it's alive, but it's not designed for motion back and forth, okay? You see what it looks like when you pull it back, when you drag it in the water back and forth. That's not what it's designed for, okay? At all. Matter of fact, let me get down here in the water so you guys can see it a little bit better. That's not what it's designed for. This jig here is designed for this. When you're spider rigging, look at that tail. See the action on that tail? It looks like it's alive. Okay? That's what the stinger shad is designed for. That tail is in constant, perpetual movement all the time. Even when you're on the boat sitting still and that jig is just sitting down there, that tail will not sit still at all. Let me bring it back a little bit so you guys can see it. Okay, so that's the difference. Right now in the spring, the crappie up in the shallows, I'm using the twist tail jig. But when it comes to spider rigging, when I'm using my minnows, this is the one that you'd like to use, the stinger shad. All of these are available on camscrappiehole.com, and I'll have the web address right down there below, okay? So I want you guys to make sure River done found somebody up there to check us out. And remember, be patient with our shipping because we're trying to get this stuff out to you guys as fast as possible. You know I'm an advocate fisherman. So you know I do not like to lose fish, okay? So listen, matter of fact, let me take you guys off my chest. I want to thank all my subscribers and all my viewers for coming out. And hold tight, let's roll into the segment right now. at that. Hooked up again. Hooked up again. Guys, these crappie are in shallow water. Look at this. Boy, these crappie are in shallow water. Man, this is a nice crappie. Heck, as a matter of fact, look at this. Wow, man, look, let me see if I can bend you down, guys, a little bit. Look at this crappie. God almighty. Let me get you guys some scale on this rascal. God almighty, this is a 14-inch crappie. Good night. Let me pan you around a little bit so you can see where I am. Let's see if I can show it to you. You can see how close I am to the bank. For all you guys out there to ask me, can you catch crappie? Can I do a crappie show from the bank? Let me turn you around a touch. Matter of fact, let me back up just a little bit. Let me show you guys this rascal here. You see this? A 14-inch crappie. Let me turn you around a little bit more. Make sure I get you exact scale so you guys can see me. You see that big rascal there? Matter of fact, let me show you what we caught him on. Again, this is the same thing, guys. I don't change, okay? That's a #1 hook with a 1/16 ounce unpainted minnow head jig. Look at that big rascal. We're gonna let her go because I don't know whether this is a male or female. We got some in the basket already, so we're gonna let her go. All right, let's get set up again. We're gonna run a dub, do it all over again. Let's back out real easy. Let's back out really, really easy. And let me say this to you guys. When you're throwing, and when they're in the shallows, I want you to remember this. Throw up towards the bank, but sometimes they may be about 8 to 10 yards off of the bank, just sitting. They're staged up a little bit further out. And same thing happens with brush piles. Sometimes they're not affiliated with the brush pile. Sometimes they move out, okay? And sometimes they're in the brush pile. So always remember that. Just like I'm throwing in the shallows right now, but I'm slow reeling out towards the bank. They may be about 8 yards out. Let's see if we can get back up there and see if we can have a little bit more luck. Go back up there again. And sometimes I want to tell you guys this. You may throw in that same spot a couple of times. They may be stubborn. They may see you go by one time, and that second or third time, they hit it. Look at that. Just like that. Just like that, guys. You see how far he was staged up on the outside? That's what happens. Let me turn you guys around so you can see this rascal. That's what happens. You got to remember that. Let's pull this rascal in. Wow, man, this is a nice crappie. And it's a female, too. Let's pull out a little bit. I'm going to pull out, and then I'm going to drop anchor so we won't have to keep turning around like this, because apparently they're staged up in there. This is definitely a female. We're not going to keep her. All right, let me turn you around so you can see her. Let me turn you guys around. Perfect. Let me show you that hook set. See what that hook is? That's a #1 hook. Right in the roof of the mouth. You see that? That's what we're looking for. This is definitely a female. Guys, those big nasty, look at her stomach. See if you guys can see her stomach. We're going to let her go. We're not going to keep her, okay? We're only keeping about 11s and 12s. So let's let her go. Matter of fact, let me turn you around so you can see her. We're going to let her go. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Wow, he was way out here. Way out here. Look at that. Way out here. Look at this crappie. Way out here, right at the boat. Wow. Pull you down just a little bit. Look at this. Guys, this is a 13-inch crappie. Wow, and it's a female. Let me turn you around. You remember what I told you? Listen, you remember when I mentioned to you about being too close? Look at this. Look at that hook set. First of all, let me show you guys the hook set. Right in the roof of the mouth. Can you see that? Look at that. My opinion, this is a female. Look at her stomach. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Anything that even resembles that, they're cold too to the touch. Let me give you some scale. Anything that resembles a female, we're throwing them back.